Hey, everybody, this is Adrienne with Holistic Made Easy, and I am so excited to introduce you today to a friend of ours named Juliana. And today we're going to be talking about a topic that's near and dear to my family's heart as well as Juliana's frequencies. So, Juliana, welcome so much for taking time to talk with us today.
Thank you. So good to be here. I love all you guys do. You do so much for our holistic community. It's awesome.
Well, thank you. We love what we do. Obviously, you do too. We would love for you to share more about what you're doing with frequency medicine and therapy and how that's helping people. This is something that you helped introduce us to at a certain level almost 2 years ago now. So would love to hear what's going on, what this is, and how it's helped you.
hmm Well, I wasn't looking for anything new. So much of us we're on a health healing process. And at the time, I didn't even want to hear about something like frequency medicine because I has overcapacity with the things I was doing. And I was running a full-time wellness business. But a friend kept insisting I try out frequency medicine in the form of a device called an AOScan. And I finally gave in to her promptings and started running these frequencies. It was crippling vertigo that I was dealing with. And after running frequencies for 5 days, I had no vertigo. So that got my attention. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is this? I need to know more. I've been praying for solutions, but it's so often like we're like, oh, okay, but I don't know if that's of God, and we just keep running. But I needed to slow down and be like, no, this is the answer to prayer. And it was huge for me. So once I started seeing, of course, breakthrough in my own life and then my family and then my clients, I started sharing it with more people. And now that's become my full-time message because I really believe that frequency medicine is the future of healthcare.
Mhm.
So it's so exciting to be in this new space of innovation.
Absolutely. That's so cool. And you hit on something there, Juliana. A lot of people that will be hearing our conversation are struggling with something in their health. They're desperate. They're looking for whatever that next thing is that they can try to help them to feel better, to have clarity of mind, to not be in pain. Or they have a loved one that has been diagnosed with something, or they're just trying to feel better in their day-to-day life. And so you have that willingness to try new things when you hit a certain point in your health journey. And it sounds like that's what this was for you.
Yes, exactly. I was at a dead end.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to admit it, but we finally say yes to new things.
Yeah.
And it's opened up a whole new world. And it will for all of us as we move into the future because we haven't thought so much about the energetics of our body. We
Mhm.
haven't thought about trapped emotions or curses or these energies that do physically affect the physical body and create breakdown.
Mhm.
So it's super convenient now that there's technology that we can just tap a button and create new levels of optimization within our body, within our cells.
Mhm.
It was so fun introducing it to you guys as well.
Yes, I'm nodding. I'm going, yes, 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 because we go to a naturopathic doctor and she utilizes frequencies. And so we had been familiar with the idea of using frequencies. We all are energetic beings, and some people are like, whoa, that's woo, that's way out there, Adrienne. But that's the truth. We all have these resonances and frequencies. Everything does. And
Yes.
you talk about the emotions and curses and things that are trapped. There's an emotional world that's unseen. There's a spiritual world that's unseen. Scripture talks about we fight not against flesh and blood, but against rulers and powers and principalities. And so, that's the unseen world. There's frequencies and vibrations to things all around us, including in our body. And so the state of dis-ease is that dissonance of the frequencies that are around us and going through our body. So, people that are more cerebral, it's kind of hard, I think, for them to wrap their minds around this unless you've been at that point of desperation where you're willing to try something that sounds a little out there,
Mhm.
you know. but it's not. This is something that is very practical. And when you take a look at this technology, it's very easy to understand. It's easy to see the effects of how it helps your body, it helps your spirit, it helps your emotions, everything. So for our friends and family that are going to hear this, Juliana started approaching us. It was probably early 2021, springtime, maybe.
Mhm. Yeah.
And you were so excited. You were eager to show us this. And with what we do, we're super busy. We're trying to, lift all the different holistic modalities that we love and support and we think are doing great things to impact the community. And so I'm thankful for your persistence because it finally hit a point for our family in the summers. I think it was July and into
Mhm.
August of 2021 where we were really sick. And you reached out and you said, "Hey, I'm out of the country, but I would love to help you." You were out of the country. You weren't even in the United States at the time. And you said, "I would love to help you by doing a scan." And we were trying, all the different holistic things that we have in our toolkit, the supplements and the tinctures and, all the different things that we do to
Yes.
try to maintain a healthy immune system. But we just needed a little extra boost to get over the illness that we were dealing with. And so, guys, Juliana did this scan. And it was the first night that our family had slept well in over a week. And my husband, Andy, had been really struggling with this illness. And he finally started to turn a corner once Juliana sent frequencies to him. I'll even say, our son, Xavier, he had no idea like what was going on. And thankfully he wasn't feeling as bad as Andy and I were. But Juliana, you were running frequencies. You were sending us frequencies through that quantum realm around bedtime, right? You were sending things to help us to have restfulness and to have peace and to be able to sleep well. And our son had no idea what was going on. And it was so sweet because he goes, "Mom, I don't know why, but I just feel so cozy." And so I followed up with you, Juliana, the next day. And it turns out that was the coinciding of the same time you were sending frequencies to our home, to our family, to help us get over being sick. And so at that point, I was like, whoa, there's really something cool to this. And that's something I would love for you to talk about, Juliana, is how does this work? A lot of people are like, okay, yeah, I'm open to the idea, but how does this work? How are you able to send things to me from
Yeah.
hundreds of miles away and have it be effective? Right? That's what people want to know. It's like, how is this effective if it's not with me,
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'll do my best to explain it, but there still will remain a bit of mystery. That's what frustrates all of us. We like the mechanics, we like to see, we want to understand all the science behind it.
Yeah.
And we'd have to go back to the findings that Tesla was having, Nikola Tesla, or Einstein. Einstein called this type of energy a spooky effect because he knew there was a type of energy that wasn't electromagnetic. It wasn't just sound, but it was a more subtle frequency, a subtle effect of energy. So that's what, throughout the years, the thing is, there have been many doctors that have worked with this. I like to highlight Dr. Royal Rife in the 1930s. He was seeing transformation in cancer patients. He was seeing them completely that wiped out. What was happening was the cell, let's say a cancer cell, it has a frequency or it has an optimal state. And what it was happening is a broadcast of the opposite phase of frequency to actually implode that cell. And it would break up that energy and it would have to dissipate. It would have to explode, basically. So that is what, since then, so unfortunately, his labs were burned to the ground and a lot of that information was lost because it was very inconvenient. There was a certain industry taking off and people being healed was not helpful to their industry. So that's kind of the how frequency medicine is run parallel because it is so easy. It's almost, I call it offensively easy because I have this is my frequency generating device. Yes, it's housed in a phone. This is my cell phone. This is a dedicated device. to the AOScan.
Mhm.
So I'm able to tap a button and start frequencies from a distance to someone else. Like when I was working with you guys, I would put your profile here, all the details. You could call this your phone number in the quantum field. Like when
Mhm.
we dial a phone number, we don't think about how does this happen, how to get there.
Right.
Um, this is similar. Everybody will understand this eventually, but we can just put the person right here and then work with them. This is like a wellness center
Mhm.
and do different applications and send broadcast frequencies like I was doing for Xavier, or just many different things. As you know, there's lots of ways we can apply this.
Mhm.
Um, so it is, I believe it's going to be in every home in the future as this expands. This technology or something like it, because there is becoming more and more frequency tech. It's important that we have an experience with it, right?
Mhm.
That's where I kept like pursuing you guys. Like, you just got to get it in your hands, right?
Yes, yes.
And use it on a regular basis. So yeah, that's the basics of how it works. It has to do with quantum entanglement. If you want to dive down that rabbit hole, it's amazing. But it's just a new way of thinking because,
Yeah.
and another thing to add to it is we've had a Newtonian mindset. Our whole scientific approach has been a cause effect, a black and white, and as if it will always be that way. When the truth is, the quantum field, which is the reality we all live in, has more flexibility, and there's more to it. There's just more to it than we thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And your persistence in wanting to show us this and finally us getting a chance to experience it led to our family. My husband was very sneaky around Christmas this last year. And we had talked about it for a while, but he surprised me Christmas morning with our own AOScan. And I was so excited because the amount of frequency work that we've already done with our naturopath doctor has been great. It's scary accurate. The things that come up when you do scans and the frequencies have a chance to run through your body and just show the areas of your body that need attention or foods that you should avoid or things that you need. But the AO scan goes even more in depth with that. It gives you daily biofeedback, which Juliana has been absolutely amazing for our family. It's been a game changer. Um,
Mm-hmm.
how cool that every morning, we do ours in the morning, at
Yeah.
least in the morning if we're pressed for time. We do the easy scan. And so it checks your inner voice and then it scans. How many different things does it scan when you do the easy scan?
It does hundreds, and it
Okay.
does 3 scans in one. Like vitals is over 800, food sensitivities, as you know, viruses, parasites, bacteria, or scanning, and then optimizing, sending balancing frequencies to every part. And then the comprehensive is like an MRI or a CT scan, and that's focused on specific regions of the body that show that they needed support. And then again, scanning, seeing where it's at, and then sending optimizing frequencies.
Mm-hmm. And it's been so cool to see that because it changes on a daily basis because your body is constantly changing. You're exposed to different things on a Monday than you will be on a Thursday, or
Yes.
your stress levels fluctuate. Women and their fertility cycles, like everything is fluid in terms of our body and our health and our needs. And so that's been so cool every morning to see some of the things that need support in the body. And I remember first doing those scans, almost not freaking out, but almost alarmed because it's like, oh, all these things, but it's really exciting, honestly, to know how you can best support your body on a daily basis. If my liver is showing that it needs some support, that's going to help determine what I'm eating that day. Or maybe I do the sauna, or I make sure I get an extra walk in, or I do dry brushing, or I do a certain tincture. There are so many different things that you can apply the AOScan to just to help better your everyday health and wellness in your family. Uh,
Yeah.
and something else too, I know when you sent us frequencies from way far away, when we had some family members that were struggling, in the last couple of months, ever since we've gotten our personal AO scan, we've been able to help them and send frequencies for vertigo or for whatever's going on in their body. And they're hundreds of miles away. They're in their state, they're a few states away from us. But that's the beautiful thing about this technology is you don't have to be in the same room. They don't have to be physically holding the device. And it's that mysterious, thing about it, but it's effective. We've seen it.
Yeah.
You've seen it. I've seen it. We know people that have been already benefiting from this. So for the balance of our time, I know that we could do a huge deep dive, and I know you have a ton of stories, but for people that are completely brand new to this technology, but they're curious, besides doing the easy scan, what are some practical ways that you've used the AOScan or that you've heard stories of people using it in their daily life, just practical ways that they could look at applying this to their own health and wellness?
That's a great question, because who needs another gadget if it's, we've all got all the things, but we need it to be practical. So one of them is the inner voice, and this is a simple way to create sound therapy. It's not like playing Hertz frequencies on YouTube and hoping that's what your body needs. This scans the voice, scanning over 8,000 frequencies in the voice, then creates that sound therapy. Results vary because you can imagine it's catering to that individual's needs. So sometimes we see a reduction in pain from just listening to the balancing harmonics. Sometimes it is more confidence and courage. And of course, the opposite being, it helps reduce anxiety attacks, depression. We're seeing these things lowered from listening to it continuously. So, or just really practically what that means is doing an inner voice scan like twice a day. I'm going to do one right now. And I'm just simply like recording my voice for 10 seconds and it's scanning all those frequencies. And then immediately, and I say, I am Juliana Malilly, say my full name. And it's just, that's a good imprint as it's going through. And then I have this, I call it a DJ booth because we just got an upgrade. I love that the company keeps giving upgrades regardless of the cost. They don't change the cost, they just upgrade the device. And now I can play this sound therapy and ideally with headphones. So that's a practical way. Let's look at, and this is all ages. If they are 6 months old and crying, or they're 90 with Alzheimer's, if there's vocal happening, then we can record and then play that music back to that person we're supporting. So
love that.
I love this. Another fun thing. So something we haven't even touched on is like Cepheid. This is subtle energy frequency imprinter. We can broadcast. We were talking about this frequencies, like you were saying for vertigo, you were broadcasting a frequency program. Well, there's hundreds of different frequency programs we can use. And let's say we were having, like you said, an issue with the liver or digestion problem. And let's say that was coming up in your scans, not to mention maybe you're feeling it. Then you can go through and choose one of these things, maybe back pain or digestion or whatever. And you can broadcast it again to the person, or you can imprint that frequency to a drink and then consume that drink. And you heard it here first, folks. Like the first time I saw this, I'm like, what are you talking? What is happening here? And something we need to know is like homeopathics, the entire field of homeopathics is based on frequencies. When you're buying that tincture at the store, ultimately it was a frequency. It wasn't even actually a physical substance. It's now down to a frequency level. And that's the convenience of this. We also have a whole homeopathic library, over 300 available, and we can scan the body to find out which ones it needs. So for those who have studied homeopathy, this is a huge field, but how convenient is it to just hit scan, imprint it to something I'm going to consume, and then get that tincture right then as my body needs it. So there's so many ways. Just yesterday, I brought home roses, and I do a pesticide detox on my roses. And I mean, there's all the physical bodies, but then we can also do it to even pets as well. There's a pet scanning optimization. Um, the practical things just, that's why I love connecting and having conversations around it, because they keep expanding. As we're using this, we're discovering new ways that we can use frequencies in our lives every day.
Absolutely. And you mentioned pets. Our cat Luna, we added her in and we've started
Yeah.
running frequencies on her. Sometimes she's a little anxious, but when we start running frequencies for her, we've noticed that she calms down and she'll just kind of lay down and rest, or she chills out a little bit. And it's so cool to see, that our pets, that our plants, that the things around us can even be changed, at that molecular frequency level, the quantum level,
Yes.
just by running the frequencies through the AOScan. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing. And you're right, there are so many applications that continue to expand. I think the last time I saw you in person, Juliana, you were talking about using them on plants. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. I love to plant a garden in the spring. And so,
Mm-hmm.
being able to use frequencies in different creative and expanding ways, like this is just the tip of the iceberg. Wouldn't you agree? This is like just scratching the surface.
It is. And it opens up so many new pathways. Like we were talking about, if the scan results continue to show you, in my case, it kept showing me parasites. And I'm like, what are parasites? I don't need to know about this.
Yeah.
But it led me to do a deep dive on, okay, I need to do a cleanse. So you pick up clues on what your body most needs and then take actions, because you can see it's right there in our scan, and how we can take more actions to support our bodies holistically. Yes, frequency support, but then also taking the right steps with our other aspects of health.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So people, I'm sure, are going to ask, oh my goodness, where can I find this? Because I've been sharing, tidbits here and there of my scans, especially with allergies. Things show up on my scan for certain trees and certain pollens, certain plants. And people are like, how do I get a hold of this so that I can run frequencies on myself? And like you said, it's a device. It's called the AOScan.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I will post a link so that people can learn more. They can check out, the actual device. And I would love to run an inner voice scan for anybody that's interested. Just a free inner voice scan. People can give it a try. Juliana, you were so gracious in doing that for us. We want to pass that blessing on to other people that are curious to try out this technology. So if you're interested in trying out the AO scan, Andy or I, Wholesome Made Easy, would be more than happy to do an inner voice scan with you so you can check it out. But we'll include the link with this video so that you have a chance to dive a little deeper, and feel free to reach out with any questions you may have. Juliana, thank you so very much for sharing your nuggets of wisdom on frequency medicine and on the AO scan. Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap up for today?
Just one little thing to add is, if someone's watching this in the month of April, there is almost $100 in discounts available this month. It's the best month I've ever seen to get one. So even if you're like on the fence, like, you get a hold of it and then try it out for a month. Like we're saying, you've got to have experiences, you've got to get some routine with it. So just want to remind everybody, if it's April in 2023 that you're seeing this, it's a great time to take you up on that inner voice scan.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing. Yes. And honestly, I wish we would have had this sooner in our wellness toolkit. We drug our feet for a while because just, let's be real. Sometimes cost is a hindrance for some people, but when you look at it as an investment into your health, it's absolutely worth investing in the device, investing in the monthly amount, because you're using this every single day. You're using it to help your friends and your family. And some people even integrate it into their health and wellness business. Practitioners, we're starting to see them starting to use this as a way to offer an expanded, more in-depth way to help their patients. And so there are a lot of practical ways that you can use the AOScan, not just for yourself and your family, but even beyond that. We know a lot of folks that are in that holistic wellness coaching arena, and this would be a great tool to incorporate into your practice or your coaching. So yes, that was a really good reminder about April. So thank you again, Juliana.
Thank you, Adrienne.
We are so appreciative of everything you're doing to help educate and empower people in their holistic health and wellness. And we look forward to seeing you and everybody else again soon.